What a way to end the week. Joe Biden, moments ago, just lost his security clearance. As a former president, generally those guys get them. You also get presidential daily briefs, intelligence briefs. But he cut it off for President Trump, and President Trump just cut it off for him. And I think that is well-deserved. He made it official on Truth Social. Let's go through it. Ooh, there's a lot to read here. There is no need for Joe Biden to continue receiving access to classified information. Therefore, we are immediately revoking Joe Biden's security clearances and stopping his daily intelligence briefings. He set this precedent in 2021 when he instructed the intelligence community to stop the 45th president of the United States, me, I love that part, me, from accessing details on national security, a courtesy provided to former presidents. The Her report revealed that Biden suffers from poor memory and even in his prime could not be trusted with sensitive information. I will always protect our national security. Joe, you're fired. Make America great again. Wow. I love it. It's pure. It's valid. And it just happened. So many things are going on right now that are worth celebrating. 2025 is off to a spectacular start. I mean, we're getting back to sanity and normalcy, but it's also extraordinary at the same time. I mean, what? We have a border again. We're getting rid of illegal criminal aliens. No more men and girls sports. Peace seems to be breaking out all over the place, and Biden is gone. And the January 6ers were pardoned. This was one of the most magnificent things for those of us who are kind of on the edge of our seat for so long, worried about those guys, that President Trump followed through on it. Was a beautiful, beautiful thing. But those January 6ers, yes, they've been pardoned, but they are not out of the woods, folks, not at all. And there are a lot of them, many, many, many January 6ers. Let's take a look, actually, from that day. Thousands all over the place, and they were persecuted and over-prosecuted. They have been pardoned, but folks, along the way, there have been suicides, bankruptcies, divorces, lost jobs. They've been socially ostracized. These guys were treated worse than sex offenders. It's really crazy. And their lives have been destroyed. How do they get that stuff back? Class action lawsuit? Some sort of settlement with the government? Something's got to happen. There are a few things percolating out there, but nothing has gathered a lot of momentum. And I'm not counting on Republicans in Congress. Some have been great. Most have been crummy when it comes to the January 6ers. You know, they're friends with the Capitol Police. I don't know what it is, but they all feel a little bit bashful when it comes to January 6 issues. Remember Kevin McCarthy? He was asked point blank, that guy who killed Ashley Babbitt, what do you think of him?
Go ahead.
One of the first things Marjorie Taylor Greene said from the oversight dais was that Ashley Babbitt was murdered. Do you think Ashley Babbitt was murdered, or do you think the police officer who shot her was doing his job?
I think the police officer did his job.
And there was no outrage. That was, and still is, kind of the accepted, okay, that happened. President Trump is the only one who boldly came out in support of Ashley Babbitt and her family and raised serious questions about Michael Byrd, who still has a gun, is still on duty. In fact, he was given a raise, a promotion, and a gold medal like everybody else in the Capitol Police Department. Another disgrace. Something has been overlooked here. In addition to the mistreatment and abuse of the January 6ers, the abuse performed by the Capitol Police. You look at this footage, it's crazy what they're doing to people, banging them on the head. You name it, they did it that day, including shooting that girl, of course, and beating people up in the most savage way. Where has the accountability been? Actually, these guys kind of admitted it out loud. They talked about inflicting pain as punishment, and a lot of innocent people were collateral damage as they inflicted pain as punishment. The Capitol Police, to this day, allow themselves to be used as political pawns.
I want you to turn around. There are Capitol Police officers behind you. They're guarding us. Take a look at them right now. Turn around.
I'm looking at you. You're talking to me.
No, look at them. I want you to look at them if you can, if you have the courage to look them in the eye, Mr. Patel, and tell them you're proud of what you did.
There needed to be a letter immediately sent. Stop using them as a political prop in your games. But the Capitol Police and a good chunk of swamp law enforcement is still there to play this political game, and it's wrong. And I'll tell you what, for all the talk of, well, those who hurt cops on that day can never be forgiven, should never have been pardoned, I do not agree. There's a fundamental misunderstanding about a lot of what happened on that day. You'll remember the skirmishes, let's call it a skirmish, by the bike rack, right? A lot of pushing and shoving. Did you know that these people were being kept from their constitutionally designated area to protest? They had permits. The January 6ers had permits to be where that blue arrow is, in the grassy area. They had permits to be all throughout the Capitol. But they were denied their constitutional rights that they had already, they guaranteed them as Americans, and they actually went through the permitting process. They're daring us when they say things like this. Joe Biden would never let it go, and I've heard it a lot in media and elsewhere. Does this sound familiar?
Hear me clearly. I'll say what Donald Trump won't. Political violence is never, ever acceptable in the United States political system. Never, never, never.
Okay, I'm not going to disagree, but I am going to point out that we have the motto, live free or die. Has anyone ever heard that? I think it's the state flag in New Hampshire. State motto, live free or die. You know, if you start messing with someone's constitutional rights and you're very abusive about it and you use force, what's going to happen? I don't ever want there to be violence, but I kind of have some small insight into what might have been going through some of their minds on January 6th. Have I told you the story? Right after Joe Biden lost the debate, just for laughs, I went outside because the motorcade, Biden came to New York like 2 days later, and I made up this big sign that said, "You lost." And then the cops came around and said, "You can't be here doing that." And I'm telling you, folks, it flipped a switch in me. I went a little bit berserk. I sat down and I refused to move. I support law enforcement. I also support my constitutional rights. And when they said I couldn't, something just happened. You know, I sat down. Not for too long. I did not want to get arrested, and that was probably going to happen. So I walked away about 2 or 3 blocks, and I found another spot, and I gave Joe Biden my message. All right, it didn't make much of a difference, but at that point I had to do it because they said I couldn't, and they were in the wrong. And a lot of people on January 6th in law enforcement were in the wrong. The whole damn thing, possibly a setup, and that struggle at the bike rack, and they were being kept from the area where they were actually allowed to protest. And that's kind of crazy. And I am wishing all the luck in the world to Congressman Barry Loudermilk, who has been the guy on January 6th. He's been fantastic to find out, because some people were kept from being allowed to perform their constitutional privileges. But why did this cop wave everybody in so aggressively? Who is that cop? What the hell happened with that? How about the others? Why were they just standing there and allowing everybody to come in? They easily could have said, please, don't come in, but they welcomed everybody to the Capitol. And why did those 3 cops just walk away before Ashley Babbitt was shot and killed? Is there a good answer for that? There isn't. Well, but we got to find the answer. We have to. Congressman Barry Loudermilk and a couple of other courageous souls in Congress, but too often Congress has been a bit of a bust. Even the Republicans on January 6th. That has to change. President Trump has done a lot of the work. Now it's time for others to pick up the slack. All right, next, please.
Of the Department of, hold your face up so they can see you. Department of Education, get a good copy of him. Let him get recorded in history for what he's doing today. Let his children see him. Let his children know that he was standing in the way of all children being educated. Look them in the eye. Come on, hold your face up. Look at them. Let them see you. This is him. Look at it. What's your name? Tell us your name. Give me that ID again.
The ID, I showed it to you.
So what?
I showed you the ID.
You do what?
I showed you the ID.
Could you let me see the ID again? Huh?
No.
No? Will someone else ask him for the ID? Will you ask him for it? He won't let me see it again. You didn't see it. You didn't see it.
That's great stuff, isn't it? That security guard, so cool. Maxine Waters, noted imbecile, sorry, showing up at the Department of Education without an appointment. You can't just show up, hey, I'm a member of Congress, let me in. It doesn't work that way. They are revealing themselves to be very, very silly people. We already knew that about Maxine. I never heard of Greg Cesar, though. Have you? Watch this.
I'm a member of Congress. I'm chair of the Progressive Caucus. I'm vice-ranking member of the Education Committee. And the baseline responsibility of the Congress is to oversee our federal agencies. Each and every one of us have been in this building and through these doors. But of course, as soon as we get word that Elon Musk and Donald Trump want to shut down the Department of Education, suddenly they don't want to let members of Congress in that ask questions. Musk and the Republicans, they say they're supposedly about...
All right, and it goes on like this. People looking to be stars, not really. What are they going to do? There's nothing to see inside the Department of Education, which may be closed ultimately, but not right away under President Trump. That Cesar guy, he's good at stunts. He went to Capitol Hill, stood outside for a 9-hour thirst strike. He didn't drink water for 9 hours, and he thought it was a big deal. You see in that lower picture there, if you take it full, his staff would come out to take his blood pressure to make sure he is okay. I don't think people, that happens like all the time. It's called being alive. Maybe we should all drink more water, but a lot of people go, that's the kind of character he is. We already know about Maxine. Some people said, though, today the situation at the Department of Education was an insurrection. Let's not play their game, all right? This is not an insurrection. It was a silly scene. They throw around that word. We're throwing around that word right now. I don't want to do it. They made fools out of themselves, but it wasn't an insurrection. You're allowed to get into arguments, with people. Matt Gaetz did the same thing, but for a much better and righteous cause. When those January 6 prisoners were being held in that rotten jail in downtown Washington, D.C., a federal facility, this was a wellness check. Members of Congress came to visit prisoners, and they were not allowed inside. That was a disgrace, and good for Matt Gaetz and the others, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for not forgetting the J6ers. All right, next, please.
FBI has turned over a list to the Justice Department of the FBI agents who worked on the January 6 rioters cases. Are you planning to fire the FBI agents who worked on those investigations?
No, but I'll fire some of them because some of them were corrupt. I have no doubt about that. I got to know a lot about that business, that world. I got to know a lot about that world, and we had some corrupt agents, and those people are gone, or they will be gone, and it'll be done quickly and very surgically.
I'm sorry, but I love that man. You know, the easy thing right now would be to say, oh, no, we're not going to. Of course not. We want to make sure. No, there are FBI agents who must be fired. So many abuses, especially January 6th.